When a dog runs away from home, most people assume they know exactly why it happened. Maybe the dog was unhappy. Maybe they wanted freedom. Maybe they got tired of living in the same place every day and decided to leave. It sounds reasonable. In fact, it sounds so reasonable that millions of dog owners accept it without ever questioning it. But according to canine behavior researchers, animal behaviorists, and decades of studies on domestic dogs, that explanation is usually wrong, because dogs do not think about freedom the way humans do. They do not sit by the window dreaming about a different life. They do not plan an escape because they are bored with their family. And yet every year, millions of dogs leave homes they were deeply attached to. So what is really happening? What could possibly make a dog walk away from the people they love most? The answer is far more complicated than most owners realize. And by the end of this video, you may never look at a runaway dog the same way again, because the final reason is the one that breaks the hearts of owners everywhere. Let's begin. 1. The instinct that never disappeared. No matter how comfortable your dog's life seems, there is something important we often forget. Dogs may live in our homes. They may sleep in our beds. They may wear sweaters and have birthday parties. But underneath all of that, they are still animals carrying thousands of years of evolutionary programming. And some of those instincts never completely disappear. One of the strongest is the instinct to explore. Long before dogs became companions, their ancestors survived by moving through large territories, searching for food, resources, and opportunities. That drive still exists. Most of the time, it remains controlled because your dog's daily needs are met. But occasionally something awakens it. An open gate, a broken fence, a door left ajar. Suddenly there is an opportunity to investigate what lies beyond their normal boundaries. And curiosity can become powerful. What starts as a short exploration can quickly become something much bigger. Because once a dog begins moving through unfamiliar territory, every new scent creates another reason to keep going. And before they realize how far they have traveled, home is no longer nearby. What looked like a deliberate escape was often just a series of instinctive decisions. One scent, one corner, one more interesting thing to investigate, then another, and another, until they are lost. 2. They are following a scent trail. Imagine being able to smell something thousands of times better than any human alive. That is the world your dog lives in every day. Their nose is so powerful that it creates an entirely different version of reality. A reality built from scent rather than sight. Now imagine catching a scent that suddenly becomes the most interesting thing you have experienced all week. A rabbit, a deer, another dog, a familiar person. A female dog in heat. The scent appears. Your dog's brain locks onto it, and everything else becomes less important. Researchers often describe this as scent-driven behavior. The dog is not making a conscious decision to leave home. They are following information. Each step reveals a stronger scent. Each stronger scent creates another step. And before long, they have traveled much farther than intended. To us, it looks irrational. To the dog, it makes perfect sense. They are simply following the strongest signal available to them, and sometimes that signal leads them miles away from where they started. 3. Fear can override everything. Most owners imagine runaway dogs sprinting away excitedly, but some dogs run away for the exact opposite reason. Fear, a thunderstorm, fireworks, construction noise, a car backfiring. An unexpected traumatic experience. Fear changes the way the canine brain functions. When a dog enters a state of panic, rational decision-making begins to shut down. Survival takes over. The goal becomes simple. Get away now. The frightening part is that once fear starts driving behavior, many dogs continue running long after the original threat has disappeared. Animal shelters repeatedly report finding lost dogs miles from where they escaped during storms or fireworks events. Not because they wanted to leave, because panic pushed them farther and farther away until they no longer knew where they were. And once fear gives way to confusion, finding their way back becomes much harder. If this is changing the way you see runaway dogs right now, consider subscribing, because many of the behaviors we assume we understand often have very different explanations beneath the surface. 4. They may be looking for someone. This is one of the most emotional discoveries in canine behavior research. Dogs form powerful attachments, not just to owners, to entire families, to other dogs, to routines, to the people they see every day. And when one of those important figures suddenly disappears, some dogs respond in remarkable ways. Behaviorists have documented cases where dogs repeatedly searched locations associated with missing family members. A favorite walking route, a workplace, a familiar park, a friend's house. The dog is not wandering randomly. They are searching, trying to reconnect with someone their brain expects to find. To understand why, think about what attachment means from a dog's perspective. They do not understand business trips. They do not understand hospitals. They do not understand moving away. They only understand that someone important is suddenly gone. And sometimes their response is to go looking, not because they want to leave home, because they are trying to bring a piece of home back. 5. The reproductive drive is incredibly powerful. This reason accounts for countless missing dogs every year, particularly unneutered males. When a female dog enters heat, she releases chemical signals that can travel enormous distances, signals specifically designed to attract attention. And attention is exactly what they receive. For an intact male dog, these scents can trigger an instinct so powerful that it overwhelms training, routines, and even strong attachments. Dogs who normally never leave the yard suddenly become escape artists. They climb fences, dig under barriers, push through openings owners never imagined possible. Not because they stopped loving their family, not because they suddenly became disobedient, because biology temporarily became louder than everything else. Many owners interpret this as a personality change. In reality, it is an ancient reproductive instinct taking control, and once the dog begins following that scent trail, distance can accumulate surprisingly fast. 6. Something changed at home. Dogs are creatures of patterns, far more than most people realize. Their sense of security comes from predictability. The same people, the same environment, the same routines. When those things change dramatically, some dogs struggle to adapt. A move to a new house, a divorce, the arrival of a new baby, a new pet, loss of another animal. Major disruptions can create stress and uncertainty. Most dogs adjust over time. Some do not. Behaviorists often observe increases in escape behavior following significant environmental changes, not because the dog dislikes their family, because they are attempting to resolve uncertainty. Remember, dogs do not understand explanations. They experience changes directly. Something feels different. Something feels wrong. An instinct tells them to investigate, to search, to move. Sometimes that movement becomes an escape, and sometimes it becomes a disappearance. 7. They often don't realize they're lost. This is the reason most owners never consider, and it changes everything. When people become lost, they usually know it. We understand maps, addresses, roads, directions. Dogs do not. Many runaway dogs never make a conscious decision to abandon home. They simply keep moving. One scent leads to another. One distraction leads to another. One unexpected event pushes them farther away, then suddenly the familiar landmarks are gone. The smells become unfamiliar. The environment changes. And now they face a problem they never intended to create. They are not choosing not to come home. They do not know how. Animal behavior experts frequently explain that lost dogs often become trapped in a cycle of confusion and survival. Fear begins to build. The environment feels unfamiliar. They hide. They avoid people. And each day away from home makes returning even harder. This is why so many recovered dogs are found surprisingly close to where they disappeared. Not because they were trying to stay away, because they were trying to survive while gradually losing confidence. And that realization changes the entire story. The dog that ran away may never have been leaving you behind. They may have been trying desperately to find their way back. Conclusion: the next time you hear about a dog running away from home, resist the urge to assume the worst. Do not assume they were unhappy. Do not assume they stopped loving their family. And do not assume they chose freedom over the people who cared for them. Because most of the time, the truth is far more complicated. A powerful scent, a moment of fear, an ancient instinct, a search for someone they love, a biological drive they cannot fully control, or simply a journey that went farther than they ever intended. Dogs do not experience the world the way humans do, and when we try to explain their behavior using human logic, we often miss what is actually happening. The reality is that many runaway dogs were never running away from their families. They were following instincts written into their biology long before they were born. And in many cases, if they could have explained themselves, they would have said the same thing. They were not trying to leave. They were simply trying to find their way through a world they do not fully understand. And sometimes, tragically, that journey takes them farther than they ever meant to go.